Today's lesson is lesson number 2, multiplying and dividing fractions. And to start today, there's a review. So we'd like you to pause the video and answer those 3 problems, and then come back and check. And remember, when we're working with positive and negative integers, when we multiply or divide, we have that checkerboard or tic-tac-toe board to help us remember what happens when I multiply or divide and what kind of sign they're going to equal. So pause and then come back to check. Looking at these answers, negative 12 divided by times positive 9. So a negative and a positive makes a negative. 9 times 12 is 108. A negative divided by a negative makes a positive. 48 divided by 4 is 12. My last one, my answer is negative 4. When solving our problems today, we're going to use those same multiplication division rules. We just apply them to fractions. Remember, with fractions, you multiply straight across. So when I look at this first problem, I'm going to multiply my top numbers together, and then I'll multiply my denominators or bottom numbers together. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. 7 times 3 is 21. When I look over here, I had a positive times a negative. I know that's going to equal a negative answer, which I have. So you want to just double check that your signs are correct. And then you always need to ask yourself, can it reduce or simplify? 12 and 21 in my brain, I know they both divide by 3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. Notice I did not lose my negative. Don't forget about those. And 21 divided by 3 is 7. And there's my answer. When we divide fractions, pretty similar. We just have to remember that when we divide fractions, KCF. Keep, change, and flip. Cannot forget to KCF when you're doing division. We want to focus on the division process before I worry about anything else. Keep the first number the way it is. Negative 8 is still negative 8. We want to make it a fraction, so put it over 1. Change dividing to multiplying and flip the last one. Make sure that when you flip, though, you don't lose the negative. I'm going to keep it with the 1 that it's on. So I'm going to write 2 over negative 1. When I think about the signs, I have a negative times a negative. I know it's going to equal a positive. So I'm just going to get a positive answer. And let's see how we do that. Multiply straight across. Negative 8 times 2, negative 16. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. When I go back to reduce, I know 16, in my head I'm doing negative 16 divided by negative 1. That's the thought process. I know it's going to be a positive. 16 divided by 1 is 16. To simplify, you don't want to put it over 1. It's not needed. And then because they were both negative, the numerator and denominator were both negative, 2 negatives make a positive. And notice my answer was a positive. Moving on, another division problem. So I know right away KCF. But before I can keep, change, flip, we cannot have a mixed number. So we need to make them improper. I use that C method to do so. When I'm making it improper, you kind of just ignore the negative. I know my fraction's negative, so my answer is going to be negative something. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 1 is 26. 26, denominator stays the same, and I made sure I kept that fraction negative. So I have negative 26 over 5. Divide it by, don't do too much at once, make my next one improper. Multiply, then add. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Bottom stays the same. As soon as you have them both improper, then you keep, change, flip. So KCF. Negative 26 over 5 times 3 over 7. multiply like we always do, straight across. Negative 26 times 3 is negative 78, and 5 times 7 is 35. When I look at my signs, make sure my answer is the right sign. I had a negative divided by a positive. I know that's a negative. I have a negative sign, so that's correct. Then I want to see if it can reduce. And so when I'm reducing, these are the questions I'm asking myself. 2. Can 78 and 35 both divide by 2? Nope. 3. Can they both divide by 3? Nope. 4. Can they both divide by 4? Nope. 5. Can they both divide by 5? Nope. And I keep going. And eventually, really, they can't divide by anything. So that's as simple as it gets. And it's okay to leave it improper as long as it's been reduced. And then lastly, we have a 3-step problem. When we are multiplying or dividing fractions that are 3 parts, we want to make sure that we only do 2 at a time. And you always want to start with anything that's inside parentheses. So when I look at this problem, I'm going to start by doing this multiplication here. So I'm going to put negative 7 over 1, and I'm going to multiply this together. 4 times negative 7, negative 28. 5 times 1 is 5. Notice I didn't lose the negative. And then I'm going to recopy that first piece. Negative 1 over 7 times negative 28 over 5. Now when I multiply straight across, my signs are going to change. A negative times a negative is a positive. 1 times 28, positive 28. 7 times 5 is 35. And then we want to see, can I reduce? 2 doesn't work. 3, nope. 4, nope. 5, 6, 7. 7 does work. I can actually divide top and bottom, or numerator and denominator, by 7. And when I do so, it reduces to 4 over 5. And then just double check my sign. I had a positive times a negative to make the negative. And then a negative and a negative make a positive, and that's what I have for my answer. Last but not least, I would like you to try these 3 problems on your own. Make sure if it's dividing, we keep change flip. Any mixed number needs to become improper, and then be careful with your signs. I'm gonna go ahead and have you pause the video, try these 3 on your own, then come back to check your answers. When you solve these 3 problems, the first answer is 12 over 5, or 12/5. The second answer is going to be negative, make sure you have that, 1/8 once you reduce. And the third answer, after reducing, and notice I had to reduce it twice. I found it worked by 2 and then by 3. I didn't find it right away at 6. But you end up with negative 63 over 8. If you have any questions, make sure you come ask for it to be re-explained in person.